Well, oh well. Hey, Audit and Fraud, friends and family, how you doing this Friday? Listen, think about your last DoorDash order. Maybe you felt a little guilty about the $10 delivery fee for a burrito. Now imagine doing that every single day for years until you've spent about $100,000 on takeout. Or imagine calling an Uber not because you're running late, but because you have $100,000 to burn on rides. Here's the thing. See, most people flex with buying a car or a house. The person we're going to talk about today, well, their most expensive flex was a lot of takeout and small things to the tune of millions. So here's my question for you today. If you were handed the keys to $1 million vault, would you buy a mansion or would you spend it all on front row tickets to a WWE wrestling match? That's my question for you today. Now, as I say every week, you just got to listen in because this one is crazy because they all crazy. Are you ready? Let's go.
Welcome to the Friday Fraudster podcast. Join them as they discuss sad, funny, and sometimes disturbing fraud stories. Be sure to catch past episodes on your favorite podcasting platform or go to www.fridayfraudster.com.
All right, you heard the question I asked. If you just all of a sudden got a few $1 million, what would you buy? What would be your flex? Like, what would you spend that money on? And should have known. Stephanie said, hello from Idaho. I knew this answer was coming. Stephanie said, I would invest it. Like most of us would invest it, wouldn't we? But here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring them up and we're going to ask them, Christine, Thomas. Okay. Overnight, you get a few $1 million. What are you going to buy?
I'll let Thomas go first.
I was going to let the lady in the room go first. I would pay off the house. I would do some serious renovations on the house. But if you're talking about just straight up just buy something, first thing that comes to my mind is I've got a 2019 Dodge Charger. I would love to get the latest and greatest, most powerful engine Dodge Charger. I just have too much fun driving that car. So yeah, that would be my splurge item.
Ah. Okay. Christine, what would your splurge be?
I'd pay all my debt off. And then probably start sticking money in retirement. I'd probably do a family vacation. Somewhere really cool, maybe for 2 weeks, a month. That's what I would do.
Big Disney trip.
You know, here's the thing. Aren't we all just real auditors for real? Invest, pay off debt, be responsible adults.
We're exciting, fun and exciting.
Now I think this might be Carol. Hello. I would put money away for my kids, new car, and investing. Yeah, we're kind of boring, aren't we?
Would it be different once we started doing it?
Ooh, that's a good question, right? Because if you think about it, most frauds, people start out real small, and then all of a sudden it morphs into something totally different from how it started out. So that's a really good question. Stephanie said using it for fast food is literally flushing it down the toilet. Okay. So listen. Today, let's talk about this story today. In the heart of Park Slope, Brooklyn, there's a preschool called Kinderhaus. It's a German immersion school. You know, the kind of place where refined and educational are the brand. You know, it's kind of hoity-toity. Parents pay
It's
top
not.
dollar.
There's no hidden underlying purpose or meaning going back for about 100 years. Nothing like that.
Well, here's the thing: parents pay top dollar to send their kids there because they're learning a second language.
Okay.
So it's hoity-toity. We're not going back 500 years, but you know it's you know, and so now there's a woman at the top. Here's where it gets more interesting. She's a Swiss citizen. Her name is Marielle, and she's kind of the gatekeeper of this whole German culture here, which is kind of odd. Swiss. Okay, but apparently, while talking about German curriculum in her office, she was allegedly screaming for The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin at ringside. Now, I know what you're thinking. How in the world did these two worlds here collide? So picture this. On one side, you've got Park Slope brownstones, organic markets, toddlers speaking German. It's quiet, it's polite, it's a lot of old money. Then on the other side, you've got WrestleMania, because what she did was, she stole money from the daycare, and one of her vices apparently was WWE wrestling events. All right, what do you guys think?
I can only imagine how much the school costs, considering that my youngest is going to be 14, and the amount of daycare expenses I had when they were younger, just regular daycare, was sickening. I don't know. I guess if that's what she likes, I know it's not cheap. It's no different than any other concert that I think a lot of us would go to.
It's definitely interesting. It's very unique, right? Like, if you said, well, maybe not the Jets, but the Giants, the New York Rangers, nobody likes the Yankees, so the Mets, if they something like that, it wouldn't surprise me as much. But WWE is so random. So yeah, that's that's a funny one. I'm still thinking, all of the jokes that can come in with the German immersion preschool is, I'm trying to keep it straight here, but if you've seen Jojo Rabbit, the Jojo Rabbit's kind of coming to mind at this point, which is bad. Have y'all seen that movie?
No.
Oh.
Add it to our watch list. Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit. So in the comments, if you've seen Jojo Rabbit, please chime in here. But it's a dark comedy about a young kid who is in the Nazi. What was it called for the little kids that wanted to be Nazis, but they weren't old enough to actually fight yet? So, and his imaginary friend is Adolf Hitler, and Tiki Watiti, or however you say his name, is the director and all, but he's also playing Hitler, and it is so funny. It's a dark comedy, but it is hilarious, and that's just going through my mind right now with the German immersion preschool. But I digress. But Rob, please get us back on track.
Okay. So now here's the thing. She's in charge of creating this curriculum at this school. And again, they had locations in Brooklyn and Manhattan. So it was a lot of money. She siphoned money from the parents' accounts and then diverted it to her own accounts. And here's where this one really got interesting for me, though, because oftentimes you'll see people, they'll buy luxury goods. Now, mind you, her salary was only about $39,000 or $49,000 per year. I forget which one. It was either 39 or 49. And she had a couple of apartments that were very expensive. And the people that worked there questioned her. They said, how can you afford this? So they were onto it. But somehow they let the trail go cold. They just took her answer that she made up about where the apartments came from and how she could afford them.
And that's just the thing. That rent money is gone. She didn't buy a house that they can seize. Like, that money is gone. You're not getting WWE tickets back. That money is gone. Like,
Wait a minute. And speaking of WWE tickets, here we go. So Bob says, "Do you smell what the Rocks got in the cushion?" Oh, however you say it in the German. I can't say it with a German accent.
is it Kuchen?
Kuchen. They say
Why-
German.
Go ahead.
Well, you know, they say German is one of the easiest languages for us to learn if we speak English, because English is a Germanic language. So that's what
I
they
was
say.
looking at Stephanie's comments.
Wait, which one?
That
Oh,
was
you can pay for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. Oh,
come on, let's go.
we've got to get the WWE jokes coming in now. And B said, Bonita said, never seen Jojo Rabbit. Happy Easter. And a happy Easter to you too. Hey, listen, Bonita, I got your message. We'll end up doing it. I just got to find the time. Okay. So let's get back to this though. She was actually able to siphon about $2.7 million, and we'll put them in different lifestyle buckets because it seemed like she didn't buy real assets, right? And that was weird. So, okay, $350,000 went on professional wrestling, and that was the most documented part because it wasn't just the tickets; it was entertainment associated with professional wrestling, including things like VIP packages, travel to major events like WrestleMania, and possibly some meet and greets too.
So I was just talking to a young man recently who is big into like Comic-Con and stuff, and he got a what was it? He either bought or made an outfit to wear to Comic-Con. And that just kind of makes me think of something like this. Like, if you've got these fandoms that you want to do and it costs a whole lot of money, this is just the way she funded it. It's but yeah, like I said, there's no, like, you can't get the money back. There's no assets to sell. So it'll be interesting to see what the penalties are if because she hasn't been found guilty, right? It's just alleged at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now Stephanie is saying, show the picture. It didn't surprise her that she was in the wrestling. So Stephanie has seen this story, you guys. So okay, there she is. There's Marielle. Let's see. I think there's another one. That's the actual one of the centers. Oh man, here's one of the centers here. And if you know anything about New York, that's probably $1 million home in New York. So there she is again, covering her. Oh, come on. Covering her face. So now, Stephanie asked another question. How much was the school? So here's what I want you all to do. Guess. See if you can guess. How much do you think the school is? Stephanie, how much do you think it is? And don't cheat. Carol, if you're here, Bonita.
Sitting there and telling everybody on here like about fraud and embezzlement, don't cheat.
Well, you know, I'm learning that auditors are some interesting people. So while they're guessing, let me just fill this time with a little bit. Lately I've been seeing auditors who have been passing around documents that have been gated. You know, in other words, you needed to pay for them, and they've been downloading them and redistributing them for free. And I'm just scratching my head like, but we're auditors. Like, what? How? I'm at a loss for words.
Let's give them a little baseline. So, for both of my children, what would have been 10 years ago, to be in full-time daycare, I was paying $26,000 a year total for two of them.
Hmm.
So I don't know if
Okay.
that gives a little bit of context. And that was normal. I wasn't paying, it was about $250 a week per kid. Ended up equaling about $26,000 a year. In one of which the schools was a 2-year up prep preschool to get my child ready for school. So it wasn't just a regular daycare, it was more of a educational to prepare them for first grade.
Hmm. Okay. Very, very interesting. So, um, oh darn.
Did you lose it?
Yeah, I just had. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Um, so the one that I found, I think this is it. I'm almost positive that this is it. I want to pull it up and show you all. Bonita said doggy daycare is about the same. Okay, so I've got two sources. One source said that it was about $48,000 per year.
Per year?
Yeah,
That's like college. If you really think about it, that is college tuition for a state school.
yeah, 48,000 per year per child. Now I found the website though that I think well it has the name, but it says it's out of DC, so it may or may not be the right one. Look at this one though. It says $3,000 for 5 days
Yeah, so that's essentially saying that your daycare cost is $3,000 per week.
per week. Yeah.
And then depending upon the daycare rules that they have, like let's say your child is sick. You still have to pay the $3,000. Let's say you decide to go on a family vacation for a week. Guess what? You still have to pay that $3,000.
Yep.
And they say it's the cost to essentially hold your child spot.
Oh, get this though. When space is offered, there's a $1,000 non-refundable registration fee. And families are required to give 2 months notice when withdrawing.
Yeah. Daycare is difficult, but the thing is yeah. The
So
$400 per week, who is that?
I think it's Carol. Yeah, my daughter pays $400 a week per kid for just a simple daycare.
Yeah, so these individuals at 48 they're paying about $925 a week per kid.
Wow. And Stephanie saying college is cheaper. Yeah, it darn sure is, isn't it? Isn't that crazy?
Wait until you'd get upset if you found out how much the daycare workers are actually making per hour.
Oh yeah, they don't make a whole lot. Yeah. I imagine in this place they were making a bit more than normal, right? But
Well,
okay,
they
okay,
probably
okay.
had multiple languages.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, so let's break this down though. So $350,000 in professional wrestling events. Now let's talk about the delivery cost, because I would consider this woman to be the delivery queen. Think about this. She allegedly spent over $150,000 on food delivery services like DoorDash and Uber Eats. If you think about it, so this whole thing occurred over a period of about 4 years. That's roughly about $100 a day every single day for those 4 years.
Holy cow. It makes me wonder, what did she use her actual salary on? What did she use her salary for?
I mean, that was her savings account. What do you mean?
Allegedly. I gotta keep saying allegedly.
Right. Allegedly, right? Okay. Now, here's the other thing. Now, we all know that if you're in New York, if you're in the city, one of the boroughs, wherever, driving is a pain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, owning a car is a pain too. So she decided she needed to take Uber and Lyft everywhere. Here's the thing. She allegedly spent uh, um, about another $150,000 on Uber and Lyft.
Here's my thought on this. Other than Stephanie's comment, at 150,000, like you said, that ends up being like $100 a day, right? How did you not just buy a car and pay for parking in Brooklyn, and then use whatever money you saved for something else?
Okay. I'll be honest with you. I can see her on this one. I can see it on this one.
Because of where she lives?
Well, okay. Think about this. Cars nowadays, they're expensive. So let's just say if she got a $60,000 vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, parking in New York, you're spending anywhere from $400 to $900 a month, probably. Probably might be a little more than that now because of inflation. I'm just going based on past, memory. I've had friends that were paying $500-$600, 8-9 years ago. So, you're probably $1,000 a month. And I don't know. So, I could see not having to drive, not having to shovel your car out of snow in the winter. And that's just parking at your house. Think about if you drove just right around the street, you'd have to park at that other place you went to as well. So
That's true.
I can see her on this one. I feel this one.
Well, and I guess, how is she getting to work every day? Was she taking ride shares every single day?
I probably would have been.
Blows my mind. Like, I know you said you were talking about us winning $1 million. Like, okay, I'll take 150 G's.
Okay, so let's go to the next one. So now we've got 350,000 on WWE stuff.
Yep.
We've got 150,000 on food delivery and stuff like that.
Yep.
We've got 150,000 on driving from place to place. And now here's the big one. Travel. She was going places, having a good time. 650K allegedly.
Dang. Does it tell you where she went?
I couldn't find exactly where she went. I couldn't find exactly where she went. Now, here's my question for you, Christine. How do you catch somebody who's hiding $3 million? Like, how would you have caught this? How do you catch it?
If, like, I was, like, the owner of this daycare?
Yeah, because I'm assuming all the other bills were being taken care of. It's not like the daycare is in bankruptcy. So it must have been making so much money that, people just didn't miss it.
So the way that I would think, if I was running this type of a daycare that cost this amount of money, number one, they would more than likely have budgeting, because I'm guessing they're not just feeding these kids like macaroni and cheese out of a box, right? There are going to be high standards because this is a high cost daycare. There's going to be high standards that need to be met by these individuals, that the parents that are sending their kids there. So for me, if you start missing that amount of money, I think you would just notice it in your settlements, your deposits. So as people are making payments in for daycare and everything else, there should be almost like a stream, your incoming and your outgoing flows of cash, that you'd be able to kind of determine what is expected to come in. But maybe it's my financial brain that's working. It's no different than when, like, books close at the end of the month for a financial institution and it happens to fall on a large payroll. Like, you just know that we have a high fluctuation of deposits because of just the timing of the month. So I think that's just what it is. If you've been running this organization for so long, I think it would just start looking weird when you start missing that kind of money. Because I'm guessing the person that owns it, they're not doing the books. Like, I'm guessing that's how she got away with it. She was a director, right? So how much of that was she tasked with overseeing? But then what type of oversight did the owner also do?
Ah, there we go. So that's kind of what happened. Okay, let me see if I can. Because this one was weird. So what she ended up doing was, whenever transactions were made, she would get an email receipt. Hey, money has been deposited or transferred. So what she did was she had this hidden folder in the school's Gmail account. And so every time a tuition payment was processed, the confirmation email was automatically rerouted to the spam folder or that hidden folder. So the owner who had access to the email account didn't see the confirmation email. And so the owner wasn't aware of everything that was being deposited because her control, i.e., the email coming from the bank, was being concealed from her. And so Marielle had complete access over the books because she controlled what the owner saw.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was the owner was looking for a specific unrelated email from a vendor. And while digging through the trash and the spam folders, she stumbled upon hundreds of tuition confirmation payments that had never appeared in the school's main business bank account because this woman had diverted them to her own bank account.
Okay. How long did you say this went on for?
4 years.
And how much did she take?
3 million.
Okay. Let's say they had to do weekly. Okay. Go ahead and keep talking. I'm going to do a little bit of math right now.
Okay, so now here's the other part. She wasn't dumb in the way she did it either. She most likely used something like Stripe or Square to take payments from the parents, and it was at the same bank, just a different bank account. So parents swiped their payments. It still showed up on the receipt as Kinderhaus, but it went straight to Marielle's bank account. So the routing number belonged to her, but the receipt still showed the daycare. And if you remember now, this thing was almost similar to the one we had. What was it, last week? Oh, you weren't here last week, Christine, or the week before. Check this out. Last week we had a case where a guy got sloppy in his documentation and he got caught because in one of the receipts that he faked, he put on a date of February 31st.
Okay.
Hey, Tiff, what's happening? Tiffany's here. She said, goes to show you the importance of having proper internal controls. You know what? Here's what's funny. You see that internal. So, for my auditors listening, here's what I want you to remember. Somebody just used the words internal controls, and she is not an auditor. Tiff, you're an HR person, right? I think Tiffany's an HR person. So, think about this, auditors. We got people speaking our language now.
Like it.
Oh, look. And Stephanie said, oh my God, she didn't empty the trash. Right?
She literally was tracking her embezzlement for whoever was the investigator. So, because like I like my numbers, I like my data. So if we put it into perspective, if you were the owner, okay, so I estimated based on some research how many students they take in. Out of the 4.8 million they would have taken in and what she embezzled. So if the 4.8 million per year they would have taken in, about 800,000 of that would have been missing. So she was essentially siphoning off on average only 15% of their tuition. So out of every 100 students, she was essentially siphoning off like 15 and a half of the students' tuition.
Wow.
Is that enough? Is that a big enough gap to realize it as an owner, considering cost changes with electricity, water, food. Do you know what I'm saying? Like as inflation
Yeah.
changes over years and you're noticing that gradual shift, is it noticeable?
Yeah, so I get what you're saying. If you're just kind of eyeballing it, would you notice it if you were just eyeballing and not having this, spreadsheet that showed big differences? To your point, you might be right. Yeah, you may not notice it.
But
Huh.
Tiffany's right. Where were the internal controls?
Yeah, yeah. Now Bob is saying it's the side notebook ledger, but in digital form, right? Okay, so now the owner, I think, hired an outside auditor to come in and look at the books.
Okay.
Um, and then it gets a little murky because a lot of the documentation I saw then starts talking about when law enforcement began investigating. And so let's go back to the question I asked you earlier, though. How do you catch someone who's actually stealing all of this money? Well, law enforcement actually looked at her social media because she was posting pictures on, I think, Instagram on her travels and her WWE seats. And so there you go. Social media to the rescue again. The FBI started investigating and, well, they found the paper trail that showed her going to WWE events, and that married up to her social media where she was at the events. And there you go.
But what was it? Like now, I know I wasn't here the last 2 weeks. The week before that, it was the kids fanning out money.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I would honestly sit here and say, because I have social media. There is way too much that is shared on there.
Yeah. Don't you just miss the days when it was just you sharing your food that you were eating on Instagram?
Well, and seeing, I'm not a big Instagram person.
Me either.
I'm not a big X person. I think I only access them when I try to be creepy and for these stories, try to do a little bit of research. I do watch TikTok. It keeps me connected with my kids. But yeah, there's times where I'm sitting here going, yeah, now the whole world is involved in your personal life.
So now Tiffany is saying, y'all aren't making the case for me to let anyone do my books. I've heard that from other business owners too. I wish I had millions to play with, but even more reason for me to be careful because I don't. And truthfully, you can do your own books if you have decent software. I mean, you can do your own books if you have decent software. Now, Stephanie is saying, I find so many people in my cases ratting themselves out on social media. Now, you all know that a big part of my job when I was in the corporate sector, I was a chief audit executive, right? So I had responsibility for doing investigations and stuff. Let me tell you, there was this one case. We caught quite a few people on social media, but one was very interesting. So at this organization, we had a couple of cafeterias to support the business that we were in. And so I get this call where people were saying, hey, listen, people that work in the cafeteria are stealing. And I'm like, okay, well, all right, how do we prove that? And I won't get into the details because I tell this story in my training because this is real funny. But what ended up happening was they said the people were stealing chicken wings. And I was like, oh, okay, this is weird. They're not just stealing them to eat, they're reselling them somewhere. And sure enough, some of the people that worked in the cafeteria, they had a catering business. And the specialty for the catering business was chicken wings. Now, it just so happened that in one of the pictures, they had a box of the chicken wings that was from our supplier. And it was The way it was wrapped, you could tell that it was one of ours.
Okay.
So, and I'll say that without saying entirely too much. And so we were able to take the social media page, where they posted about an upcoming event that they were doing, where they were selling the chicken wings, and look at what was missing from our inventory and kind of marry it all up. So
Yeah. Kelly in the Range Rover.
yeah, yeah. So isn't that crazy? Social media.
I mean, after a while, well, how many times have we sat here and talked about some of these fraud schemes and we're like, why didn't you just stop at year 2? Would you have been found out if you would have just stopped at year 2? But then it does make you think, how many of these embezzlements, thefts, everything else, stealing chicken wings goes on, and the person stops and it goes undetected? You know
Yeah.
it has to happen. Or the person quietly exits the company and nobody thinks anything of the wiser.
Well, and that's the thing. How much is enough? Because you asked a question earlier, and I thought it was a really good question. Like, what was she spending it on? Because what was she spending her salary on? Because apparently, I think, if I'm not mistaken, she had 2 apartments, if I'm not mistaken. And so in New York, that's not cheap.
No, I know it's not, because my cousin's daughter goes to NYU, and it is her and 3 other students rent an apartment. And I understood, but I didn't understand until I went into this apartment. Like, their sink, my bathroom sink is probably the size of their kitchen sink.
Yep.
And it has, like, it's not even the size of an apartment fridge. So, like, the friend's apartment, oh my God, that's a luxury apartment. I bet you their rent was $8,000 a month. It was 4 bedrooms, but when I say bedrooms, I'm talking you have a queen size bed and there's enough space to walk on 2 sides of the bed.
Yeah, you can reach over and touch the wall from the bed.
Right. So they're really small bedrooms. I mean, but overall, like, I was sitting here going, okay, for a New York apartment, this really isn't bad. They have a living room. They had 2 bathrooms. They were really small, but like, there's a part of me, I'm going, I could fit 3 of their bedrooms in my garage. So, $2,000 a month for an apartment. Like, I'm sitting here going, you could get a 3-bedroom apartment with an attached 2-car garage here in little old Wisconsin.
Yeah, yeah. So okay. So Bob talking about why not stop, right? Bob said, but WrestleMania, Christine, there's always next year. And Tiffany said, yeah, you think if you're gonna do these things, don't go on socials. Just don't,
But sometimes I wonder, though, like, how we talk about living like the Joneses. Is the rush in being like, hey, look at what I can do and nobody else can? I don't know. Like, it's just so much different now that we got social media. We didn't have people before social media that was stealing money going, hey, look at what I got.
I mean, they were. We just didn't see it because we weren't in the places they were spending that money,
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't at the wealthy resorts where they were squandering the millions that they had. Hey, Christine, Tiff says she's in Madison, Wisconsin.
I am going to creep on your LinkedIn, Tiffany.
Okay, so look. So on March 25th, there was an unsealed indictment, and it hit the headlines. She was arrested and charged with wire fraud, money laundering, and monetary transactions in criminally derived property. Sorry. And what's real crazy is because she's a Swiss citizen and had access to millions, the feds treated her as a flight risk, a major flight risk. So
It makes me wonder, do you think she did anything in Switzerland?
Probably so.
Like, I just sit here and think to myself, like, not any director of a daycare center is going to know how to divert credit card payments to flow from one business account to a personal account, because I would think the parents would have to set that up.
Yeah. So, okay. So I've got one other piece of information, and I'm double checking to make sure that it was true before I say it, because I'm like, wait a minute. Because I'm going back through my notes, and wow.
What'd you find? Don't tell me you found a dead body.
Not this time.
Okay.
So Tiffany says everyone wants to be an influencer. Now, look, I don't want to be an influencer at all.
We wouldn't even be able to see it because everything on Swiss criminal records is strictly confidential, but the Swiss have not come forward with anything.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was looking at, I don't know if I want to say this because I'm trying to.
Are you trying to be careful?
Yeah, because I don't. So this is what I'll say. So allegedly, the school may have been struggling financially.
Oh.
But I can't
pinpoint it.
Yeah, there were a couple of sources that kind of alluded to it, but didn't really say it. And so I'm like, okay.
Was it because they were missing $3 million? Okay, bad joke.
But it was funny though. So Stephanie said that she saw that her mom posted the bond. Yeah, I wonder if that was illicit money in a Swiss bank account. Okay. Now, Benita makes a good point. She said, I would want to be an influencer, but on how to be compliant and avoid fines, penalties, or jail. Wait a minute. Don't you do that already, Benita? Isn't that what you do? Trade compliance? You do that already. So you're already an influencer. You just aren't going to WWE events.
Right.
Look, we would find Benita at the golf course, though. She'd probably be at the Masters down in, was that Augusta or Savannah, Georgia? Or at the Players' Championship down in Ponte Vedra. You ever been to one of those, Benita? Yeah, Benita's a really good golfer.
Really?
Yeah.
I need lessons.
Yeah.
Now, if I was embezzling, that's what my husband would want me to spend my money on. Like if we just had money, if we had $1 million come into us, he would rather do that than go on a vacation somewhere.
So thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie just jogged my memory. I couldn't find this in my notes, and I thought I had read it, but yeah, it said that the owner used personal savings to pay payroll and operating expenses. Yeah. So yeah, the school was struggling. So the owner had some money, but was using a lot of money in order to pay operate. I remember it now because that's the exact sentence that it used, but I just couldn't find it. Now, Benita was saying, I wish. Benita, I've actually been to the Players' Championship before. That 18th hole, man, that's a. Now she says, I wouldn't say I'm good. Look, if you can hit the ball, then you're good. Because I can't. I do like the Happy Gilmore approach.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, I can swing the club, and then like I just went golfing with my husband, and I start laughing when I'm like serious and I teeing off and I swing and I completely miss the ball. But as long as I don't touch it, it doesn't count as a stroke.
so, so look, Bonita said she just likes golfing, and in Canada, it's not a status symbol like in the US, and it's very accessible.
There's like a 9-hole course by us that's like $70. Yeah,
So I like my putt golf. You know, I like to hit it through the windmill and stuff like that. You know, that's.
Well, my husband always say, driving's for show, putting's for dough.
Ooh, you know what? That actually is true though, for real.
Yeah.
That's very true. So you know what? I was.
What?
I was about to go off the rails. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna get us back on track because I know this is gonna get us off track for like 2 seconds. Poor Tiger Woods. Okay, I'm done. Stephanie says she rocks at mini golf.
Hey.
Okay,
I'm
so
sure
wait.
there's professionals.
So Christine, who's your favorite WWE character?
I'm trying to remember. So I used to watch it quite a bit when I was a lot younger because, like, when I mean a lot, like I'm talking 7 or 8, because my cousin was really obsessed. Like, he had the toy ring with the, with Hulk Hogan and all of them. I think I would be a fan of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but it's because of all of his work he's also done outside of WWE and how much he's actually like, I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I'm always careful with this when I say like celebrities, because it's like I haven't heard anything bad about him, and the stuff that I have seen, it seems like he is a very genuine guy. He likes children. I mean, I love the movie Moana. So I would probably say The Rock.
Okay. So now, for those of you just joining, wondering why in the world I asked her that question. So today's story, a woman stole money from a daycare center, and one of the things that she spent a bulk of it on, over $150,000, was going to WWE events. So now, for those of you listening, who's your favorite WWE character? So now, I'm old enough to remember when it was the WWF, the World Wrestling Federation. And as we say in the South, wrestling, not wrestling, it's wrestling. Yeah. And so my favorites are obviously the old school: Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Mick Foley, also known as Mankind, Andre the Giant, the Junkyard Dog,
is the Undertaker.
Okay. The Undertaker and Kane. Come on. Triple H.
Yeah.
DS. Oh, man. You know, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. So, yeah. Now, The Rock I actually like too, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, because this was a stunner of a story today too, right?
It's a stunner of a story. Yeah. I mean, I can understand. Like, we all have our things that we like, right? And it is entertainment, and I could see it's no different because of the storylines and everything else that you really get into it. And it looked like she brought her kids with her. And I know that they're not just adults that like it. Like, kids really get into the WWE wrestling. So
yeah. Well, it's the ultimate good versus evil, you know? Mm-hmm. And you like to root for the good guys most of the time. So, yeah. I was glad when Vince McMahon changed it to the World Wrestling Entertainment, because I remember 2020 and some of those news outlets back in the day would do these exposés. They're going to expose wrestling as fake. And the thing is, while it is scripted, there is nothing fake about getting a chair, pummeled across your back. There is some theatrical, some theatrics to it, right? But you get hit, you get hurt. So,
Well, these individuals don't look physically in shape just because they're WWEs. You have to be physically fit.
Right.
and in shape in order to do anything that they end up doing. So
Yeah.
I definitely don't discount WWE. I know like sometimes people are like, oh yeah, funny WWE. And it's like, yeah, it's not my cup of tea, but I'm still respectful. Like those people work their butts off.
Think about it. It is like watching a testosterone filled soap opera.
Yeah.
That's and I'm oversimplifying it because it takes a lot more athleticism. It takes acting and athleticism. So Bob says Goldberg. I met Sting. Ooh, you met Sting. He says not so tough with his platform heels. But I remember Sting. He was one of my favorites too. Him and who was the guy who would have the tassels on his never mind. It'll come to me late. Ultimate Warrior. The Ultimate Warrior. Oh, he was my favorite. Well, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And Bret the Hitman Hart, we can't forget about him.
Oh yeah.
And Jim the Anvil Neidhart. I'm sorry, I'm aging myself. Let me stop.
But no, but that, I mean, in all actuality, that is still a significant amount of money to just be spending on that.
It is. I mean, it truly is. So, all right. Anyway, did we forget anything about today's story? I think we got it all. This was a good story. Well, if you're Marielle, it's not good, right? Because she got caught. But for us, from our standpoint, this was a really good story.
Yeah, it was.
Our big lesson is if you are an owner of a business, look at your books. Like really go into details because the people you trust may not be trustworthy at all.
And do comparisons. Like it should have been able, like it could have been a really quick thing, like taking a look at what your current enrollment numbers are and how often are people making settlements for tuition. So if they're doing biweekly or weekly, take a look at how many deposits were being received 3 years ago with the same tuition numbers. Yeah, your tuition might kind of be off, but you can always calculate that difference in those deposits. That would have probably uncovered it if you would have just done those checks and balances right away, or
Yeah.
on a periodic. I mean, quarterly would have worked.
Yeah. Tiffany says that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all righty. Thank you all for joining us this week on the Friday Fraudster. We'll be back next week with another episode that is probably going to be equally as crazy because the world is going crazy. I just don't know what happened to us. So we'll see you next week.
Take care.